I saw you standing there the first time that I laid my eyes on you. I couldn't get you out of all the thoughts I had. And now the end is near, and I just couldn't seem to get it right. I guess it's time to go.
Welcome to another episode of the Coast Boys podcast. I'm Gabe. Today I'm here with Izzy, and I'd like to welcome our guest, Mark Cimolino. Hey, Mark. Thanks for being on.
What's up, Mark?
Hey, exciting.
How you doing, man?
Not bad.
It's been a while since we've seen you, man.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while.
It's been a few years.
Quite a while.
We just want to thank you for coming on. I'm trying to chase you down for a while. You're a hard guy to get, but we're really excited to have you on. For everybody that doesn't know who you are, do you want to just explain a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm a local coast boy myself here. I grew up here in Fort Bragg, graduated at high school back in 2004. My family goes quite a ways back here, so yeah, long family history here in Fort Bragg, but went off, played football down in Santa Rosa, then down to San Diego. No football down there, but came back to teach, and so I'm right now currently assistant principal at the middle school. Spent 8 years at the high school teaching PE, weight training. I think I coached for 10 years there between football and baseball, and athletic director. And so, yeah, that's came back to teach.
Mm-hmm. No. Was that always something you wanted to do? Or what was the initial plan growing up?
Initial plan, I mean, I was always dreaming of like, all right, I'm going to go to the NFL. That was always like the dream of mine. Mm-hmm. But I was always into like sports and physical therapy, weightlifting, working out, just being active.
Was it always football?
Football, baseball. I mean, I started with soccer as like a young kid. But
good
then
good taste.
And then it switched, and it was primarily football and baseball.
Okay.
Never really got into the basketball. I couldn't really dribble. So.
That.
And what position did you play in football?
Running back, linebacker. Yeah.
Nice.
And then in college, it was running back.
Okay.
So
you went from here to the JC.
Yep.
What was that like?
Big change. It probably wasn't the best choice for me, just with styles, and I didn't know what I was getting into. We went from power offense in high school to college, where it was more of a spread, and so changed everything, and with just my style of running, and so didn't see the success that I had wanted to, and just had really bad case of injuries, and so tons and tons of injuries, and so it just was by the third year, because I gray shirted and then played 2. By that third year, my body was spent. Damn. And so, I mean, the concussions, herniated discs, bulging discs, dislocated shoulders.
Jesus.
Sprained necks, ankles, knees. I mean,
A laundry list, man.
Yeah.
Were you injury prone in high school? Or did you only really see that in college?
Yeah. My shoulders. Something's in our family. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries, reconstructive shoulder surgeries. My younger brothers had 2. My grandma's had 1. My mom's had 1. So I think it's something with like our shoulders. Like
it's a curse.
Yeah,
a family curse.
We're like super flexible, and so I don't know.
Yeah,
but
So going into the SRJC situation, and you start to see all the injuries. Like in the back of your head, do you have a plan B? Like what's going through your head at that moment?
Yeah, so I spent most of my time in the training room, and so. Mainly because I was rehabbing all my injuries, so I became really close with all the athletic trainers, and so I was like, in the back of my mind, they were always helping me. So I was like, all right, this is something I could actually do, and so I started taking athletic trainer courses at the JC, and I was like, all right, this is a path that I want to go. And they gave me recommendations. I found a school, San Diego State, that I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And then I went down there and I was like, just some random class where it was like, oh, you can also go into teaching. And so I took a teaching class and I was like, no, this is fun. And it was like teaching PE, and it was like I was a big kid just having fun, and I was pretty good at it. And so I changed my path from athletic training to teaching, and I never looked back. It was pretty cool.
Dang.
It's interesting how people just fall in love with teaching or they don't. You know what I'm saying? Like you tried it, you love it.
Oh yeah.
Same with Mark. I just can't see myself being a teacher. I wonder what it is.
It's a tough profession. Kids are
It's
tough.
not easy. Yeah.
Kids are like, you know, that's like one of the biggest things. You're a teacher. Like, how do you deal with the kids? Like, how do you deal with the kids? Like, kids are fun. Like, you know, they need guidance, and they're not, you know, they're learning through life. So might as well be somebody that can make, you know, point them in the right direction. Be somebody that shows them that you care, and that, you know, I'm always about just trying to spread positivity. I don't know. That's me. And through sports and PE, like, try and just make it fun and connect that way. So I'm just all about, I'm a big kid.
No, yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. Did you know what kind of kids what age group you wanted to work with, or were you kind of just like anywhere?
I've always wanted to work with like the high school, just because you're prepping them to get to college or to their next, whatever they want to do after high school. And I like working with like the athletes, and so getting them to kind of think about, okay, what is it going to take to be at the next level? What is it like? So training wise, like working out, the ability levels at high school, that's what I kind of really liked working with. But down in San Diego, I did like a semester with kindergartners and third graders, and like working with those kids, it's like pure fun all day. And so it's like you go from one extreme of, you know, working with athletes that have ambitions to go play college, to working with a kindergartner that, you know, you put on Lion King. That's my son's favorite movie right now. And
It's a good movie. He's got good taste.
He's a lion, and you can do all sorts of crazy stuff because their imaginations are just flowing.
Crazy, right?
And so it's like, all right, what are we gonna do? We're gonna throw in some Jungle Book music, and you know, they're gonna be Mowgli, and they're gonna go, and I mean, it's crazy. Their imaginations are nuts. So it's fun at whatever age.
Totally.
Were you gonna ask something?
I was gonna ask something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
So I wanted to say, I know you wanted to kind of go towards the athletic director kind of sense, where you wanted to kind of help those kids who have ambitions to go into the NFL or the NBA or whatever it may be. Did you have something available to you when you were growing up in high school, that someone who was kind of showing you, hey, this is how you lift weights, this is how you get stronger, get ready to propel yourself to that next level?
Yeah. Really, I mean, it was my family. And my friends. I had a buddy that him and I we had the same ambitions, same goals, and we spent our time working out rather than going out and doing other things. So like, he was my strength. He was like I'm one, like I love it, but he was like the one that would like, all right, we're going to go do it every day. And he's just picking me up, going and doing it. And we were just like a duo.
Held you accountable?
Yeah, very much so. And I needed that. I needed that accountability check piece of, all right, I needed somebody to do it with me. If I'm by myself, then I'm not going to get it done. And so it was great to have. But my family, they gave me everything that I needed to like prep and plan. So like, giving me rides to gyms and connecting me with, I mean, we tried all sorts of things to try and get like recognized from a small town.
Really?
I mean, every summer going to camps, calling like countless schools, making film, sending them to colleges, trying to like meet people, going and doing college trips. You know, so my family really set me up to try and provide what like my goals were. But in the long run, it just things didn't fall through.
All right.
It's tough when you don't have a really good team. You're not playing at like a, I don't know if it's a 1-star or 5-star high school. How do they rank it? Like the division, like some like place like De La Salle. You're not playing there, so it's very tough to get recognized if you're not at a big high school like that. Yeah,
and just I mean, nobody knows where Fort Bragg is, and yeah, small town. Playing small schools, it's really hard to get recognized and earn, I mean, a scholarship. And like now knowing more of like how difficult it is, like there's 80 scholarships available, or like 53 for like a big college. Like you gotta be pretty damn good to earn one of those. Mm-hmm. And so it also takes balls to go and just walk onto a place. Mm-hmm. There were plenty of offers to go walk on, but I was like so stubborn and was like, I want to earn a scholarship. That like I probably should have gone and walked on, but I didn't have the courage myself at like just coming out of high school to be like, okay, I'm gonna go walk on, try and earn a scholarship. I was like, no, I'm earning it now. So
that's a huge risk. I mean, I have friends that got that same offer, like come walk on, come to school here and try out and you'll be on the team. And a lot of times that's not the case. Yeah. You know, like they just want to have like a big talent pool where they can select from.
Where would you have wanted to go play if you could have gone anywhere out of high school?
My goal was always Stanford. Went to a lot of camps there, spoke with a lot of their coaches. And I had, what was it? I needed an 1100 on the SAT and I got a 1030. And I was like, damn, son of a beast. So I took it again and I got like a 1040 and then I took it again and it was like, gosh. And so Stanford was always my goal. And then I got connected with another coach at Oregon State. And he was, I would have gone to Oregon State if he wouldn't have left my senior year. He became a highway patrolman. And so that was like the coach that I had a connection with. I was like, damn, well, there goes that one. Looking back, I probably should have gone up to Oregon State and just walked on. The hindsight's always 20/20, but Stanford was always my top. Like,
what? Oh, I remember what I wanted to ask. But when you would go on these visits and you would like go to camps and stuff over the summer, and you would like compare yourself to these other players, were you right there with them? Did you see that you were better than them? Did you see that you lacked some things? Like, what was your comparison like at the time?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty like humble, like almost to a fault. I was really good, but I never gave myself that credit. Every spot that I went, I was always probably the best. In my senior year, going up to like Oregon State, by far, I felt like I could have competed with anybody and outplay them. But again, my humbleness to a fault, like where I will take 3 steps back and let somebody else go because I don't have that confidence in myself.
Dang, that's always the worst, man.
And so, yeah, I mean, like Santa Rosa, I mean, I beat out players that had Division I scholarships, and oh yeah, we had a scholarship to here and here and here. I was like, I didn't have any. I'm beating you out, so all right. 2 kids from Texas transferred in, and they were like supposed to be the real deal. And I mean, I beat both them out, and they both quit after 1 year because they thought they were going to just come in and take my job. And I was like, no. But
that must have felt good,
dude. Competition will do that to you, man.
Oh yeah,
make you fold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it was just injuries that did it for you.
Injuries and just, I mean, yeah, I really started to lose the passion and feel for the game. I really didn't like my coach at all. Mm-hmm. It was
at the JC.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was an asshole.
Yeah.
Why didn't you like him?
Like personality or his coaching style, or what was it like?
Play calling, what was it?
Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
No connection, always yelling, never do anything right. Constantly yelling, and just like an asshole. Like he was the type that, you see him walk across campus and he's got a towel around his neck and he's just like sweating bullets, and it's like, what's going on? Nothing's going on. And it's like,
Just a hard ass.
like something, like you're sweating bullets with a towel around your neck. You look like a crazy man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who you're supposed to go play for. And it really ruined it.
So you think that plays a huge factor, who your coach is for a team? You think if the players are able to maybe connect with a certain coach better, that they're going to end up playing or performing better for that coach?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so there were other, like the assistant coaches, that's who I gravitated towards. And that's who I played for. And like, I actually got a coaching offer my last year there. Hartnell or Salinas, one of the assistant coaches I had a good relationship with, and he wanted me to go coach with him at a college that he got a head coaching spot at. And so I was, again, young, 20, and I went down and checked the college out with him, and I was like, no, I can't see myself coaching. There were like players 26, 27, 28, and I'm like, I'm 20. How am I going to get these guys to like listen to me?
He offered you at 20?
Yeah.
That's
Holy
pretty
cow.
awesome.
So you were still at the JC when he offered you?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And he, he's like, I won't be able to like give you much money, but I got a house for you to go stay at. This is where you can start building, your foundation if you want to get into coaching. He's like, but come on down, coach the backs. And yeah, he's all, I got a free spot for you to stay. I'll give you money when I can. And and so I was like, I think
What a guy.
But you didn't want to be a coach at that time, so you didn't really think of it.
Yeah, and just the spot that it was in, I was like, all right, I
weren't feeling it.
Yeah, and I was really over football. I was like, I was done. I was spent, and I mean, like it was like 3 years it took for like if I like touched my forehead, where it would like send pain like shooting down my like body,
Damn.
because like just I don't know what it was, but that was my last year I got hit, and my neck was like screwed up for a while.
From like a concussion, or was it like a back injury or a neck injury?
More of a neck injury, and so I don't know what happened, but yeah, like big paralysis on just like pain, and if I like touched my forehead, it was like.
Dude, that's awful. Especially on the back, you're getting hit every play.
Yeah.
And so exactly, and then like the pickup or like blitz pickup, and like you're just like hammering linebackers trying to, you're not even running the ball, but you're still like taking hits. And so yeah, I mean my last year at the JC, I missed the first 5 games because I had 3 herniated discs in my back. Those all came from weightlifting. It's weightlifting, probably quite a bit, too much weight. And so too much weight, just improper form, and hurt myself there. And so I missed 5 games, came back, played 2, and then really was done after that for my last year.
And what was that transition like when you're done with sports? Because I imagine a person like you've been playing since you were young, like Cubs and high school, everything. So when you're done with the sport that you've been committing your whole life to, like I know you talked about it earlier that you're gonna go into therapy or physical therapy, but was that transition easy for you? Was it difficult? Was there any type of? No,
it's tough, and especially being back here in Fort Bragg, it's tough because you devote so much of your life to sports, and then when it's gone, it is almost like a loss of identity almost, because it's like what you've been doing. And I mean, Fort Bragg's a small town, and like, I mean, I still like people come up to me and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know you because you're football." I'm like, shit, this is how many years later now. Hey, actually, I'm not football. I have, my son now, and I got a job. But I mean, it's tough, to lose that sense of identity and then being back in the area that you grew up, because you have to like rebuild it, and like, okay, how else can I help? How else can I build? You want to leave like a legacy, or you want to build and leave something behind. How do you continue that? So.
And you were at that's how we met. You were my strength and conditioning teacher at the high school. And I've always kind of like something that I was thinking about earlier when you're talking about you want to come back and you want to be able to help that next generation move on to college. That's something that I like hearing, you know, because the whole reason we started this, we didn't have these resources when we were growing up, you know. We want to be able to provide the information to other people that were coming behind us that are interested in the same things. And when we were talking to Anderson, he was like, I think I asked him, do you have any relationship with the coaches at maybe SRJC or at Butte or at Mendel College? Because being there, playing there, you're at the JC, you see the talent that comes in, like you said, transfers from Texas, or sometimes maybe just local kids that come out of Cardinal Newman, that come out of Maria Carrillo, Santa Rosa High. There's really not much of a difference between our players and their players. It's just they get funneled into that program. So it's like, I would like to see like high school coaches here. I mean, I'm mainly talking about soccer because I grew up in soccer, but like something like football, like have those relationships with those coaches so you can just like, okay, this kid got potential. He can learn a lot more. You can mold him into a better player over there. And I haven't really seen that. Like even with basketball, like, there's a lot of good players that come out of here, but like you felt it, I felt it, our friend Udi felt it. Like we just want to go straight to D2, D1. We just want it all. But we don't really have anyone there telling us, trust me, like just take this road and you'll be able to get there. Like you just need a little fine tuning, but like you have the talent, you have the potential, because a lot of other kids do, and they're the ones that move on. So it's just very interesting that I don't know if you guys do, I don't know if you guys don't. I'm just assuming, because I haven't really seen a bunch of kids get funneled out through Mendocino College or through the SRJC or through Butte or other junior college programs. But I think it's super important for these high school coaches here to have those relationships. Yeah.
And I know Coach Perkins, he has a lot of connections in the football world, and that's who is at the school now. I stayed in communications with Santa Rosa and would try and like funnel, okay, is this a good fit? And so I'd stay in communication with Coach Wagner because that was the coach that I got along with, and he soon then became the head coach. And so that's a really good connection there. And there've been some players that I've tried to like help funnel get there, and it's just from the JC then on is where it's just a whole nother step.
Yeah.
And I know our soccer, there's more, I think, of our soccer players that go on and play college like soccer than with baseball, football, which I think that's a kind of a, I don't think many people know that about our soccer program in Fort Bragg. That we are sending, just in my admin program up in Humboldt, and I go on out on a break and I look out on the soccer field and there's 6 of Mendocino College's 11 starters are all Fort Bragg players. And I was like, wait, what? Like, and so I'm out there and it's like watching a high school game, and they were playing a really good JC, they were playing Humboldt State's team.
So it was during the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
dude, what a great experience for those kids, man. That's awesome.
And it's great. And I don't think many people know that we send that many soccer players on out.
Yeah. And that's with them taking a chance. Because it's a huge risk, because these kids are smart enough to go to a UC, to go to a really good state school. And I think that's a lot of times what kills the ability to play at that next level, because there is something that we're lacking here. I don't know. I don't want to speak bad on anything, but you just don't have that same exposure. You don't have the exposure. You're not playing tournaments every year. Same with football. You know, like you don't have those competitive games week in, week out. Like, especially at this level, it's very uneven. So to when you want to go to Oregon State, in your case, you were ready for it. But like, if another kid wants to go to that school, has that ambition, he's just not ready. Yeah. You know, a lot of kids aren't ready. And when they go to Mendel, like you learn a lot, you know, and just like that, like they move on there, they take a chance at Mendel and they succeed. You know, but a lot of kids, if they want to go to UCLA, like chances are they're not going to make the team there. Yes.
And that's one of my biggest regrets is like, there's a whole bunch of colleges out there. Like, and I was looking at the top tier. Like, I want to go D1. Like, there are so many amazing D1 AA, D2, D3, these schools. Like, and that was actually my advice to my younger brother who went to Colorado and played. And I was like, go play for a school that wants you and that you can get your education paid for. And he went to a D1 AA school. I think Colorado Mesa's a D1 AA or D2. I think it's D2. Yeah.
What's AA?
It's just the level. So it's like D1's the highest, and D1 AA, then D2, D3.
Okay.
So he got a pretty solid scholarship to a D2 school. And I wish I would have done something more similar, and where those avenues I feel should be more on the ready for our kids. Like they need to realize that, hey, not everybody's going to Stanford, not everybody's going to Cal or USC. There's a lot of schools out there. Humboldt State for soccer, like there's tons of schools that offer scholarships. And if you can get your education paid for and have the experience where like they want you, and hey, they'll like, come on, what else can I give you? Like go do those things. Like those are recruiting trips. Find the spot that is the best suit for you, not the biggest name.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's not going to be the most lucrative, but at the end of the day, I 100% agree with you. I would definitely go to a school that wants you, that recruits the hell out of you, you know, like it's going to be an overall better experience. But again, it's interesting that you say that, because I know, because we were there, and you go there and maybe sometimes it doesn't work out, you know, and then you can tell somebody to trust me, but they're not going to know until they experience it.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, not everyone's playing at Stanford, and it's true. And the numbers show that. But at the same time, I don't want to be that kid that's being told, like, dude, trust me, you're
I
not
was
going to.
just about to say,
you know
it's like it's hard to tell a kid that hey,
Yes.
you're not going to play here, go somewhere else.
There's two sides to it, and it's like, we talked about it before. Like, I don't want to hear the stats. I don't want to hear what percentage go play D1. Like, I want to try. I want to, like, you know?
That was me. That was like, I don't care. You could say no a million times. I'm still going to not listen and be stubborn and be driven in my own way. I totally hear you.
We talked a little bit about off camera. You had mentioned that you were coaching at the high school, at the varsity. Do you feel like, and now you're the VP at the middle school now. We'll get into that in a bit. But do you ever see yourself going back to coaching?
I do. I absolutely. And more recently than not, just been having the, like, okay, what are the kids doing? All right. We didn't even have football this year, so maybe that added to it. But I was like, I'm starting to miss it a little bit, and just miss the routines and the practices, and just that camaraderie with the players. Like I do miss a lot of the players. That it's like, oh man, we shared some good things, and so I feel like I can give back more. But when I don't know, maybe it'll be when my little guy is Pop Warners or something. I don't know. Maybe that's my next coaching gig is the little guys, and I don't know. You
definitely want your kid to play as he gets older?
I really would. I could care less. I just want him to find something that he's happy with.
That's awesome.
My family was always gearing me towards, all right, what are you going to do? Well, you're not going to sit on your ass and do nothing. So like, all right, you want to go work? You want to, okay, there's wood in the backyard. Let's go split. Well, I don't want to do that. Okay, well then what are you going to do? Get outside, go. And so I chose like sports. Like I was like, okay, well then I'm going to go work out. I'm going to better myself for something that I'm good at. And so there was just always those options. Like, you're not going to do nothing. What are you going to spend your time doing? And so that's what I want. My little guy is like, I don't want him like screen time and all that, like just in front of the computer. Like I want him to be outside. Like I want him to be spending his time doing something productive, and whether that is sports or outdoor stuff, that's all I care. I worry about the football though, just with my injuries and all that. But I won't not let him play.
Right, if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge point is like kids nowadays, man, they're just always on tablets or it's on phone or whatever it is. And I see a lot less kids out either playing just rec league, like just getting out there and just seeing if you like the sport. There's like, you know what, I'd rather just sit down and play this video game instead. I don't want to try out a new sport. That's something I wish growing up, like I was funneled through soccer because my dad played and my older siblings played. But and when I went to a football game or when I saw the high school play, I was like, dude, like I want to play I saw myself playing wide receiver, and I was like, dude, I want to play that. Like I was fast growing up, so I was like, but I never got the chance to go out there and practice and try that. And now, but I'm seeing kids now, they're just not even putting in an effort at all. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'd rather not.
Yeah, and that effort and like the decline in sports participation in general right now, it's like we're hurting. Baseball in particular, like, man, we're really hurting. It's a slower paced game.
Yeah.
And people want that instant gratification. And I've caught myself doing it with, again, my little guy, and being on the phone or something. And like just the other morning, I'm cooking him breakfast, and I've got like a podcast playing where it's like playing on my phone, and he's sitting there and he's just staring
at the phone.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
And I'm just like, so I'm like, I got a pancake, and I'm like, hey, Mateo, you want a pancake? He didn't even know I was like in the room, and like I was like, shit, what am I doing wrong as a dad? Like, oh well, I'm modeling that I need my phone instead of just like, hey, enjoy making breakfast with my little guy, and like put the phone away. I don't need to be, or put it on side, or like the podcast can just be playing in the background. I don't need to see it. But and he's 14 months, and so it's already starting like that screen time. It's so addictive. And so now that's like one of my goals. I'm like putting stuff away and like trying to not be on the phone and so forth around him. So
is that hard to do?
Not really. But I mean, it is something to like catch yourself. You have to be aware of it. It's like, oh, do I need to be checking that? Or, oh, the phone went off. I don't need to be going and getting it right away. Like, because then he starts thinking, phone went off. I got to go get it. Phone went off. I got to go get it. But yeah, that's like my biggest fear is that he goes that route and is more into that stuff. Screen time.
Man. I have the same fears. I'm not even a dad.
It changes everything. It does.
How's fatherhood been?
It's been great. He's a tough kid. He doesn't like sleep. But he is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It's changed, my wife and I's life, obviously. My family's like living here in Fort Bragg and having like family close. I mean, it's pretty amazing to see like a little guy running towards his grandpa and like being able to have that connection like here in town. It's brought in our families like really close.
That's awesome.
My wife's brother and sister, brother-in-law and sister, we've gotten extremely close. They watch Mateo 3 days a week, and my wife then watches the other two because her job is just 3 days. But I mean, it's a whole new experience. I don't know. It's crazy. Off camera, you guys were like, or I think you asked Gabe, like, what did you do to prep? Like, there's nothing to prep for. Like,
give some advice to expecting fathers.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, geez, like, there's just, I don't know. You could prep all you want, and then he's slamming his fingers in the drawers and screaming. It's like, all right, well, what'd I do wrong there? He's just learning.
I feel like that's so scary because you're responsible for another little human.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's like a little piece of you running around. It's insane.
Oh, he's my mini me.
That's funny, man. Does he look more like you or like your girl?
He looks more like me, I think.
Yeah.
But there's times that it's like, I see more of my wife, but he definitely looks more like me. He's a little mini me.
When you were prepping, is it everything you expected it to be, or is it just completely different?
Yeah. It's completely different. It's completely different.
Not even waste your time.
Man, I'm like, it's a lot harder when it's a lot harder than I thought.
What's the hardest part?
Having him, like, knowing that, okay, that's the little guy that I gotta, like, no matter what, like, he's relying on me for everything. And it's just that he is like constant, with just wanting to like just explore what we're doing, which is great. Like he's super smart. but you have to like be watching him, otherwise he's falling off things and slamming his fingers and doors. And you know, I don't want to, like, I'm probably just first time dad being like paranoid. I just don't want him to get hurt.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, where is he now? Oh, he's over there. Okay, let's so it's just constant. But I mean, the feelings are just amazing. Really, really, he's a pretty awesome kid. It's pretty cool.
Have you noticed like maybe your mindset has changed at all, like from before now that he's finally here and you can see him running around and doing all these things? Like, do you feel like there's more responsibility now, of course, maybe, but also has your mindset maybe changed?
Yeah, you see things a little bit different. Like, you know, you've got dad lens on now, or parent lenses, where it's like some things wouldn't bother you, or it's like, you know, you don't realize, like, just with sports, like a parent would think that their kid is just, you know, the next best thing. And you're like, no, they're really not that good. Well, now it's like I've got one, and I'm like,
dude, this kid is special.
Yeah, and it's
NFL.
like, so those feelings, I mean, they're real. It's like, you know, I'd do anything for him and just want to take care of him, make sure he's good. And so it's just being confident that I am doing that. And I mean, again, my family's amazing, so I've got like tons of support with my mom and dad, brother-in-law, sister. So I mean, I think we're doing a good job, but I always worry that like I won't be giving him what he needs or something. Mm-hmm. And so it's like I just gotta make sure to be the best dad that I can to him and give him everything that he needs.
Yeah, I feel that. That's awesome that your
without
family...
spoiling him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fine line.
Yeah.
There's a fine line. Okay, that's a good point. Like, do you ever worry about spoiling him too much? Or like, how do you be a firm dad but not... I don't want to be kind of messed up, but like make him soft. You get what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, no, and that's like just the other day, like falling down and he's crying on the ground. I'm like, no, get up, you're fine. Like, get up. Like, I don't need to be all up. Oh, come here, you fell down. Like, hey, get up, come on, brush it off, throw some dirt on it. You know, like, but yeah, I don't know. There is a balance, and you know, he probably is spoiled more than anything else. But I mean, that's just us trying to provide, but also trying to teach him, you know, just to, like, he's already trying to like clean up stuff, and we're just trying to teach him like, all right, be kind, be polite.
How to sweep and how to clean the house.
Oh, he was on his, he was wiping stuff down earlier. It was funny.
That's funny. That's good awesome. That your family is around to take care of him. Yeah, that's a huge help.
Yeah, we are extremely blessed. My wife's older sister has like two amazing kids, both in middle school, and they are like huge, like with raising our little guy. And so with COVID and everything, it sucks. Like play dates and stuff, we really haven't. He hasn't had any like time with kids his age. It's been like middle school kid. Like, we've got my niece and my nephew. One's in 7th, one's in 8th. But they're just like, they're great kids, and they're teaching him just as like they would a sibling. And so it's pretty cool to see that develop and grow. So it's pretty cool.
Do you guys have any other friends that have kids the same age?
There's a few. There's actually a large group of us, that kind of had between like my brother's age, so my younger brother, and then people my age to a little bit above. So like there's people in town that we could set up some play dates with, but we're doing our social
it's really tough.
We're doing our part. And have we broken it? Yeah, absolutely. But like, I mean, on his first birthday now, it was brother-in-law, sister, my parents.
Really? And was it super weird for you guys to just be like, man, only 5-6 people here? And
it was, yeah. Just because, you know, you always like, it's your first kid. All right, like, what can we, we're going to have a big birthday party.
Right.
But, you know, we made it work. And that was, you know, the people that you surround yourself with, like, you know, family's huge to me. So I was okay with it. I was like, this is who's raising our son, and this is what's important. We can't be around friends, but again, like our family right here, this is what's important.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys see yourself having more kids?
Yeah, I do. I would say like one more. My wife wants a girl. We're tossing out names. Ava or Taylor, that was what we were thinking.
Nice.
But yeah, she wants, and I want one more, and whether it's a boy or girl, it
Doesn't matter.
we'll see, yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're gonna love it equally.
And the big thing there is just with siblings. Like I grew up with an older brother,
I was
younger
just
brother.
about to say,
That's
like,
huge, yeah.
that's huge right there. Yeah.
And so to provide that for Mateo, I'm super close with my brothers, and like can't imagine life without them. And
Right.
so, I want him to have something like that.
Yeah.
Even though one brother's in Colorado, my older brother's here. He moved back, and it's really nice to have him like close. And so,
Yeah.
again, family.
Family's huge, man. Honestly, I don't think it's talked about enough too. Especially like you were mentioning siblings. It's great because they can even foster that like competitiveness in anything, not just sports and school and any activities or skills or anything like that. Like, dude, I can't count the number of times I saw my older brother, older sister do something. And I was like, I can do that. I could beat you.
Yep.
And you practice, and the next thing you know, you're better than they were when they're their age. So.
Yep. That was we were just having that conversation with my younger brother, and he's like, "You guys were always working out, so I wanted to do it too."
Yeah.
And he's out there, 5 years old, trying to do stuff and climbing trees and falling out of trees and just trying to keep up with us. And so, it's good.
And they say the younger siblings always comes out better because they always have
And
that.
that makes sense.
You're you're younger, huh?
I am.
I'm
Yeah.
in
So
the
maybe
middle, so
I'm,
that's
I'm biased, but they do say it because they have that person to compete with their entire life and that person to compare themselves with.
Absolutely. And that's just developmentally, Mateo's a single child. They're like the only child. And I look at the friends that have same age as Mateo, so 14 months, and has an older sibling. And they're like climbing and running and like doing all these crazy things. I'm like, Mateo can't even like put his shoe on. Like, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, well, he's got an older brother that he's trying to keep up with. And it really does. It pushes the limits of like, okay, I can do this. And so I would really like to have a sibling for him.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice.
If you want him to go to the NFL, he has to have a brother.
Yeah,
at least two more brothers.
Yeah, two
You
more.
gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, but transitioning now to what you're doing, you want to talk about that? How you got that position? Maybe start off when you started teaching at the high school.
Yeah.
And then how you got to where you're at.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned, I wanted to do something in like physical therapy, athletic training, something in that realm. And then San Diego happened, and I taught down there. And it was just a student teaching thing, and so fell in love with it. Actually, needed to make money, so I like went to like this bartending thing and was like trying to bartend, but couldn't get a job down there. And when I graduated, I like needed money, and I was working at the sports club, they called it, I forget what I was doing, just watching sports pretty much. That's what I did.
Sports club, like
sounds nice.
like a gym or what?
Yeah. I was like a site facilitator where I'd like set up for rugby games and lacrosse, and like we covered 28 different sports. And so there was always like volleyball, swimming, like there was always something going on. So I would go and I'd set up all the events and work with the athletic trainers to do stuff, and wasn't really making much money. And once I graduated, my dad owns a car shop here in town, and my old counselor went into the car shop and was like, "Did Mark ever graduate school?" And my dad was like, "Yeah, he did." He's like, "Well, there's a job opening up. He should come and apply." And it was at Alt Ed over at Noyo. Actually at the Lighthouse, and it was a long-term sub position, so like a 6-month gig, but it was paying a hell of a lot more than what I was making like down in San Diego, and San Diego's super expensive. And so I was like, all right, best thing for me right now is if I want to continue teaching, this is a foot in the door, because getting a teaching job can be tough, especially I wanted PE, weight training, and those gigs, they don't come by very often. They're sought after just because they're fun. I mean, I'm playing games, I'm like interacting. It just they don't come about. So I moved back to here and started the alt ed position, and had a pretty awesome mentor teacher who just like really set me up with like lesson planning and like what it takes. And once the 6 months were up, the teacher, Mr. Moyer, who was there for like 30 something years, just happened to be retiring right when I was getting done, and like timelines just started matching.
Nice. Did he do that for you, kind of like trying to get you into that position, or was it just something that lined up?
Time-wise, it just lined up, which is, it's crazy because, I mean, you look at like 30 years and then boom, I'm like right there at the end of it to apply. And I went and applied and, you know, did my best to get the job. And that's, I got it over another gentleman who was at the middle school. Yeah, that was my first year. I think I was 24 years old when I started. And so,
how was your first year? Exciting, scary,
yeah,
all the above.
All the above, you know. Going, you know, I was 23 at alt ed, and so like going from 23 to 24 at the high school. I mean, it was a nice change not being at alt ed. Just with I was doing math, history, science, everything at alt ed. So then going to the high school, I was now doing what I wanted to do. I was teaching PE, I was teaching weight training, I was coaching. So I was like super excited and just like really ambitious to just wanting to like bring stuff for the kids. So like intramural sports at lunch. Like I wanted to do stuff that like I felt like I didn't have in high school, and like options of things to do. That's what I wanted to bring, and so I was like really ambitious my first year or so.
Dude, I remember that. Do you remember he said it in interview?
Yes.
Dude, we made a team and we lost to Gabe's team in the final, man.
That was awesome, honestly, and that's something that sometimes it gets brought up when we're like laughing about old times,
Dude,
and we're like, hey, remember that time we beat you in the intramural? And you just like
try to forget every day.
Yeah,
think about it. I think about it every day before I go to bed.
Yeah. It's stuff like that though that, you know, that wouldn't have been an option, wouldn't have been a possibility if it hadn't been someone like you who went and thought of the idea and was like, why aren't we doing this? And it's totally easy, right? It was probably simple to set up. And
yeah. I mean, what was it? The best year. I love badminton. I was my grandpa taught me badminton and like on his street, like, and so that was like my biggest intramural time, and I think it was 72 doubles teams for the high school.
72.
That was a.
What year was that?
That was like 4 years in.
Probably right after we graduated.
Yeah, I mean we were running games. School was out, and we were still in the gym, like. Last day of school, hey kids, go home, and I was still running games to try and finish the bracket because there were so many games that had to be played.
Dang! And, did you have a team in there, or were you just running it?
I had a team. I always
I ended up winning. I have the trophy at my house.
It's corrupt. He wins his own tournament.
Triplet is he's my nemesis. He's pretty good.
Triplet is really good.
Yvonne Rubio, yeah, he was my partner.
Oh, dude, Yvonne's hella good.
Then it was our grade.
What? Yeah, Yvonne's in our grades, or he graduated with us.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, he was hella good.
Yeah, we played quite a bit. So
who ended up winning it?
That year, because are you guys with Garrett and Josh?
That's older.
No, so they're older.
They're 1 year,
okay.
Right? Yeah.
So maybe that was the year that there were so many. I think they won it, Josh and Garrett.
Dang.
And then Bruce. He's really good too.
He knocked me out my senior year.
Yeah.
You played in this?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Bro, I was trashed. I was so bad. Like I thought it was good.
We don't have to mention that.
I thought it was. No, it's okay. It's okay, man. I'm gonna be honest here. Yeah, we're live. I'll be honest.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought it was good, and then I faced Triplet, and then I realized I think it was Bruce and Shane Tupper. I think they were on a team, or who was?
Yeah.
Was it them too? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and Yeah, I wasn't.
You're like aspiring to go to college to play badminton and come across triplet, man.
There are like the scholarships for badminton. There's badminton leagues. We just don't have badminton at our school, but like other schools, it's a big thing, especially Bay Area. Yeah,
It's fun.
Yeah, the Bay Area is huge. I have a friend from San Jose, and he has his own racket and like a $300 racket, like. And he's like, oh yeah, this is like normal, like it's fine. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like badminton's just like a hobby.
What a guy.
It's like a full on thing, man.
they've got the birdies with the actual feathers and whatnot on them.
Really?
Yeah, it's totally official.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Feathers of a bald eagle. It's like $300. Okay, what were we talking
But
about?
yeah, so that was like, I was 24 when I started, and then I taught at the high school for 8 years before I then now switched over to the middle school, and I'm at the assistant principal, VP. So
when you switched over to be what?
assistant principal.
Weren't you an athletic director?
I was. So for my first 4 years, I want to say at the high school, I was coaching. I did 4 years or 9 years of football, but 4 years of baseball. And so my first 4 years of teaching, I did football and baseball. And then my fifth year, I got into the athletic director side of things.
Okay.
And so then I did 4 years as the athletic director. So I taught and was the athletic director. And that's where Miss Walker and Mr. Triplett, they just like started grooming me for admin. The athletic director side, it's crazy. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong. And
Yeah, what's a day in the life of an athletic director?
Yeah.
What are kind of the stuff you had to do?
I mean, so there's like the scheduling, but really it's stuff that just comes up. Like you just don't know, like you'll have, okay, today's going to be an easy day, with like, okay, everything, my ducks are all in a row. Things are going to go smooth. And then you've got, kids being kids, and you show up, and you're in the front office and you're talking with family after family after family because the football team did something on a road trip.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
You were the athletic director of the high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think my first day of athletic director, first day of work, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk. I live close to the high school, so I was like walking, and this will sum up the job of the athletic director. I'm walking to school, and I smell fire. And I'm like, this guy shouldn't be smelling fire. And so I look over, and there's a homeless person that had started a warming fire. Well, he didn't put it out, and so now it's starting to spread into the grass. And so I'm, heading to work first day. So I go on over there, and I just stomp it out and just kicking it with my feet, trying to okay. So then I run over to a church, and I grab a bucket of water and going over and put it out. That's the life of an athletic director. You are putting out fires
Jeez.
on all the different teams because kids are kids, and you've got parents that you're also dealing with. Now I have parent lenses on, and when you think your kid is going to Stanford and they're the best thing, they're going to the NBA, but the coach sees different, you've got butting heads.
Yeah.
And so, I'm the mediator and try and facilitate communication between the two, and you're constantly putting out fires.
That must be tough to do because I'm sure you hear the parents and they're just like, my kid needs more playing time. My kid needs to be
especially
in
in
there
a
more.
place like Fort Bragg.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
How do you manage? Is this just working with people, knowing how to?
Yeah, I mean, you got to think of positive intent, and are people getting hurt, or coaches, like, is there validity behind these comments or concerns? So, just taking into account like different perspectives and opening that line of communication and allowing that platform to happen between coach and parent or whoever it is, whether or not it always ends good or bad. I mean, there's
Have you had moments where it's ended poorly, or just the parents?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so now, like, that was me, that I was teacher and athletic director. And so I didn't have any of the experience really of admin side, parents pissed off coming in. They're ready to go. You know, as a teacher going up to a person, you know, I remember going up to a person in the stands of a basketball game and being like, "Hey, quit yelling. Hey, we really shouldn't be yelling at the ref like that. Let's just tone it down and F you, who the F you think, who are you?" And I was like, "Well, I'm the athletic director. You can't be saying those things. I can say whatever the F I want." I'm like, "No, you can't. I can ask you to leave," but having those conversations when you're like not used to it, you know?
Yeah.
That's what was hard.
How would that work if you said those 4 years you were still at the high school teaching, you were the athletic director. Would you just teach the entire day and then after you would do AD?
Yeah. So the way that it works is I would get a release period. So just like a class period, typically at the high school, teachers teach 5 out of 6 periods. And so I would teach 4 out of the 6.
Okay.
So I'd have my teacher prep and then I'd have a prep for athletic director. And so during that hour, I'd go in and every day I'd check in with Miss Walker or Mr. Triplett, and we'd just be all on the same page. Like communication is just huge. And so if anything was coming up, if coaches were emailing, if there was like transportation issues, so that line of communication with admin, I was part of that team. I was like part of the admin team, I felt like. And that's really where they started grooming me and being like, "Hey, you're doing pretty good at this. You ever think about admin? Okay, well, we're going to give you some tasks. Start doing this. And they just started piecing me together of like possibly becoming an administrator. So like my mentors that I've had, like they're like amazing. Like Miss Walker, Bruce, Jamie, now Miss Vieira at the middle school. Like all of the administrators have made me feel like a part of a team, and they're just like building me and like, okay, you need to go do this now. You need to do this. You need to be challenging yourself. Go do this. And so I feel like it's special. Like that's what you get by like being like at Fort Bragg. Like Miss Walker was 6th grade teacher, 7th grade teacher, 8th grade teacher. So I like have this connection with these people that I didn't feel like I really got at San Diego State. Just bigger city and those personal connections.
Yeah. That's how it usually is, like at a bigger school, you know?
Yeah.
That must be pretty cool too for like Miss Walker and Mr. Triplett to see somebody come through the system and then come back and give back, you know?
Yeah. You know, I always like look at kids that I've taught and be like, "You'd be really good at this. You'd be really good at this." And I haven't seen many of them come back and get into it, but it would be a really, really awesome feeling to see that turnaround and see the evolution of like who I am now. Like I never would have thought I'd be a VP at the middle school. Like,
yeah. And how is that now? What's in the day in the life for you as a VP?
Well, now with like COVID and like last year was my first year, so I like started and then I had my little guy, and so I was like out for a little bit, and then we came back, and then COVID hit and we were out again. So like my first year of VP was just like ridiculous, just off the map. Like between a child and a pandemic, like can't really like I don't even know what VP, whether a normal year of a vice principal, what it is. I've lived now in just crazy mayhem pandemic life of a VP, and it is every day is different, from parent phone calls, checking on student attendance, setting up meetings, countless meetings. There's so many meetings, screen meetings. Time, dude. But a lot of prepping and just, you know, trying to figure out something that has never been done before. Like we've never, you know, we've never gone through this. Like school's shut down for this long. So trying to just get all the information and make good decisions. You know, you can't please everybody. But I'm going to do my best to try. Yeah. I just, every day is different though. Every day.
And And you're young. You're young for a VP.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I feel I feel like it's aging me. It is
Already
2 years in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this year's been stressful. It is, it has been stressful. But yeah, normally I want to say, like they say, 10 years of teaching, and then administrator. But yeah, I'm 34, and this is my 10th year now in education. And the road is long. If I want to make it to 65, like that's a long time as an administrator. I'm like, holy cow, did I get in it too early? Because everybody's like, oh, you do X amount of years of VP, then you move up to principal, and then you do that. And
is that something you'd want to do? Move up to principal eventually? And
I don't know. I just want to master one before the other.
Yeah.
And like I really am enjoying like the VP side of things. Like when I was there last year in person and the kids are there, like it was fun. Like a lot of interacting with kids, and that's what I was there for. Like, and that's what I feel like I'm good at, is the connections with the kids, and just that positive being. Like,
yeah,
I'm a firm believer, like a person was I'm describing as like the ripple effect. Like, make it a positive interaction and let that ripple carry. Like our interactions with each other don't always have to be like, oh, hunky-dory, great, but like I want it to be a positive encounter and put out energy that you want absorbed. Like, so I'm pretty positive normally. Mm-hmm. In COVID land, I'm that. Like finding myself like, okay, remember, you're a positive dude. Like,
yeah,
let's put that energy out there.
Yeah, how have you been able to manage with this whole COVID thing? Because I know you said you really feed off that live interaction with those kids, and obviously it's not a possibility right now.
Yeah. To be honest, yeah, it's been a struggle. It has. I call a lot. Like, I call families every day, which that helps, but it's still not the same. Like, I'll set up Google Meets with kids, but then they don't show, or it's not the same like interaction because it's that screen time of just screen and face and just disconnect. It's not the same.
What do you do when you try to schedule a meeting and they don't show?
I call them back and call the parent, and then if they don't answer, then it's like, okay, well, we've got to make sure that they're okay, and for the most part, we know that they're okay. But we've gone out on home visits and just seeing the situation that a lot of these families are in. It's like, like not good.
I don't think a lot of people realize that, though. Can you maybe speak on that more? Because growing up, we're all living in our own home where we come from, where our parents brought us up, and so that's our normal. And if you come from a really nice household, or you have friends who are also from nice households, and you go to school, you don't think anything different. You're like, oh yeah, this is a normal day in the life. But then now that I'm a teacher and I'm working with all these different kids, and I see where they come from, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, your normal would have been my crazy. Like, I'm on my own. I need to fight for my own. And it's so. Can you speak on that a little bit, maybe?
Yeah. And I think you said it well. Like, their normal is not the typical normal. And so their struggle, they might not even look at it as a struggle. It's just how they need to function to survive. Having, again, my family, I didn't have to raise my siblings. I didn't have to worry about not getting fed. I didn't have to, how do I get to school? How do I have electricity? Do I have water? Like, none of that stuff crossed my mind. And for middle school, the age I'm dealing with, kids shouldn't be, worried about, do I have a place to sleep tonight? Do I have like food? My younger sibling, needs me to take care of him while my mom and dad go do something, or just my mom, or, there's a lot of decisions that are being placed on our youth that it's challenging. they shouldn't be making them at that age.
Mm-hmm.
And there's quite a few families out there that are struggling.
Especially during these times.
Yeah. I mean, when you have parents that are now, they're debating on, okay, my child is struggling so much emotionally, like they just can't handle being away from school, and that, not just that, but like the social aspect and like taking care of family members and not having that routine and that structure that school provides. That, depression's up huge. Like, the emotional stress on these kids, it's very, I see it a lot. So now we're having parents that are having to choose, do I take care of my child's mental and emotional health by quitting my job and being home and like making sure that they're okay? Well, then what do we do for money?
Right.
And these are questions that our families are having to answer. And it's like, how can I help? What can I do to help?
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
It sucks. I'm very, very interested to see like the long-term effects of the pandemic and what it's going to do to kids. Like, hopefully they're able to bounce back. But like you said, once you're used to this routine schedule, like the reason it's such a shock is because they're used to going to school. They're used to going to practice after. They're used to doing the routine. Once that changes, now that they're in a pandemic, imagine having to go back. Like what's that's going to be like? Like, I think of myself, I think we're pretty disciplined people. And the pandemic has changed me, my routine, the way I think, like just thinking about how everything's going to go back to normal. Like, what am I going to do? Let alone a kid that hasn't had to face things like that, Like, it's going to be very interesting to see how things change back to normal.
I mean, because you look at these seniors that last year, let's say if you were a baseball or basketball player and your junior year was taken away from you for sports, and like that's what your motivation and that's your drive. Well, now your senior year, like time, you don't get time back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I look at myself back, if I put myself in those shoes of these kids now, I would have been a mess. Like, everything that I was working for, I would have felt like it was taken. And now I'm not going to have that opportunity. So, like, these seniors with just losing that time, time's our most valuable resource. We can't get it back.
Absolutely.
It's going to suck for the spring sports, too.
Yeah, I think it just all in general, just like all sports and everything is just going to be tough because, like you said, people are going to lose drive. People aren't going to be practicing every day like they normally would be, or just being more active even in general. People are just inside now. They're watching TV. They're on their phones, and that's normal because what are you supposed to do? You can't go outside. What do you expect them else to do? So when they come back, it's like, are they still going to have that drive to go back and do those sports, or are they just going to be like, yeah, man, I'm good?
Yeah, like imagine people trying to get recruited right now to college.
Yeah, like this is where you gotta have
go on visits.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta be disciplined right now, and if anything, just it'd be working out at home and trying to stay active as best you can.
Yeah,
because man, it's easy to fall into a slump where you stop your routine, and then you're just like, the hell with it. Like, I'll just kind of do my own thing now, and I'll pick it up later. But hey, trust me, it's
easier said than done.
Yeah, 10 times harder when you try to re-pick it up.
Remember at the beginning of the pandemic, we were going to play every day.
We're
doing something every day. We're working out every day, and now we're haven't gone in 7 months.
You just brought this up the other day. You're like, when's the last time we played soccer? And I was thinking, it was like
2-3 months ago.
And then you're like, no, it's been like 6 months. And I was just like, what? I was like looking back on my calendar. I was like, holy crap, you're right. Like, this perception of time, like, it just feels like it's been going on and on and on. And
it feels like it's just meshed into this big blob. Like,
2020.
doing the same thing every day.
Yeah.
I gotten so lazy too.
Yeah. I just started running again today. And
I saw that.
Gee, good stuff. Yeah. I like it. It's tough, man. Literally, I haven't ran in, God, three months. So it's probably like 6 now because my perception of time is off. But yes, for like going on 3 months and man, like when I finished my run today, I felt like shit.
Dude, that is the worst feeling ever. Being out of shape or not working out for a long time and going back to the gym and not being able to do your usual way. Like,
it's frustrating. Bro. It's because I was gonna go on a run and then I was gonna lift weights right after. And honestly, I was so gassed after my run. I was just like, what am I doing? So I was like, I'm just going to shower. This is a little smooth transition into running again and working out. So I was like, tomorrow I'll do the weightlifting. But yeah.
it's easy to lose and then hard to gain back.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Have you been working out at all?
Here and there, it's that routine. The steadiness. I'll go like 3 weeks straight where I'll do a workout every day, and then I'll do 3 weeks where I just stop. And so it's like the littlest triggers will just be like, I didn't get it in today, crap. So now,
I'll be fine.
yeah, I'll get it tomorrow, and then nope, something else comes up, and then just trying to work out the scheduling. That was like one of the biggest things with my wife and I is like, okay, she works, I go get Teo, then where do I have time to work out? Because now I'm watching him, making sure. So like, I started with like going on runs with him in the stroller and stuff, but then like that stopped. I don't know what happened, but trying to work just to that time and like build it in, structure it, and communicating with my wife and I, it's been pretty solid with, okay, you've got 35 minutes, go do your workout. 35 minutes, sweet, that's a lot of time today. Like, and I'm like, holy cow, that's what it's come down to. Like, 35 minutes, that's all I need. But yeah,
what are your plans long term? Do you see yourself staying here in Fort Bragg, raising your son here?
Good question. Yeah, I do. I see my family's here. I don't see me leaving. I'm trying to get my younger brother to move back, and if he's here and he starts a family, I mean, it's got everything that we need. Like, people get wrapped up in, get out of Fort Bragg. Well, like, my family's here. Like, and Fort Bragg is small. It's in the middle of nowhere. It takes 2 hours to get anywhere, but my grandparents or my mom and dad live 2 minutes away. I walk there. You can't nothing like can change like that meaning. So
absolutely. I feel like you're set though. You have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to like graduate and stay here, but like you got out, you had your fun, you played your sport, you did your school, everything. You came back. Now you got a good career.
Now you have your family,
child, like that. I've always said that Fort Bragg is a perfect place to settle down.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you probably don't want to grow as a person. You probably want to experience life outside of it, and then come back and be able to give back to your community. But again, because there is a stigma. There's like,
oh yeah,
like, I don't want to go back to Fort Bragg. I don't want to stay in a small town my entire life. But I think that's something that's slowly changing. I feel here in town.
Yeah, and I feel like you kind of said it. I think it is important to get out at some point and go check some areas out. Go check out, Santa Rosa. Just get out of Fort Bragg for a bit, just to see. There's a big world out there.
There's more out there.
Yeah. And if something catches your eye out there, then great. If not, then there's plenty that Fort Bragg offers. I'm so blessed to have like my family here. My older brother moving back, and he's gonna have his little girl. Like, there's a lot that this town has to offer, and the people are special. They really are.
Yeah, I feel like once you get out, you appreciate Fort Bragg more.
Absolutely.
Like, dude, just like a small example, like just running, like when you're running on Pudding Creek, and you just look over and there's waves right there.
Yep.
You're like, dude, we're spoiled.
Absolutely.
We're spoiled with scenery, man. Like, I used to run in San Bern in hot, dry, humid weather, like no grass on the mountains, running by graffiti, and I'm like, dude, this place sucks. Like, it's so hot. Like, Fort Bragg is literally perfect.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until I had friends come and visit me here, and then they're like, where do you live? Oh, I live right by the ocean, blah, blah, blah. And then they came out like, you weren't kidding. You're literally right by it's a block away. I was like, yeah, so what? Like, I just didn't really think about it. And like, do you not realize like what? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of positives and a lot of good stuff that Fort Bragg does offer. And
yeah,
I think it's a great place to raise a family.
It's pretty solid so far. I mean, I got no complaints, and I'm a year in, and I don't know. We've had the conversation. I was like, how do I raise a kid if I were someplace else? Because like, I believe in like a village raises a family. Like, a family raises you, and you learn so much. And like, I want my son to know his grandparents, his cousins, his aunts, his uncles. And if I lived over like East Coast or something, and they could only see him once or twice a year,
it's different.
I mean, nah. not me.
Yeah, and Fort Bragg is so sheltered too. It's like such a good, very open-minded community compared to other cities, and like you don't have to worry about, like the crime here is super low compared to somewhere like Los Angeles. You know, like,
Yeah.
that's another thing too that you don't realize until you get out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to worry about people breaking into your car and locking your doors, and here you don't really get any of that.
Yeah, it definitely, growing up here, I mean, you're sheltered. I mean, it's, again, small, like a special spot. Like, you don't realize, oh, crap, there is a whole bunch of stuff happening in the world that, like, as soon as you step out of little Fort Bragg, like, be careful. Like, not be careful, but, like, you got to be aware.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause Fort Bragg, you do get sheltered.
Mm-hmm. It's good and bad. But
Yeah,
it's mainly good. It's mainly good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we talked about everything. Is there anything you want to ask us before we end?
No, it's just great seeing you both, and I'm proud of both of you. This is pretty solid that you guys are doing this. No, I really appreciate it, and I like the fact that you want to provide and give more to kids. That like give them knowledge, give them an avenue to change and make a difference. And
Absolutely.
so the more information they have, the more knowledge, and
The better.
Better decisions they
Better.
can make.
That's how we think. And at the end of the day, I mean, if they don't get anything out of it, at least provide some entertainment, provide something, something for them to watch.
at least it was good. I mean, I enjoyed just catching up and
Yeah,
seeing you guys. So
totally.
I mean, you impacted me today. So
Good.
Made
Glad.
my
Do you have
day.
anything else you want to add?
No, the only thing I want to say is maybe if you have any piece of advice you want to give anybody listening, maybe someone who wants to go into the similar position that you are, working in the administration work, or maybe someone pursuing a NFL career or something like that. Any advice that you have for anybody listening?
just work for it. Just work for it. That's the biggest thing, is don't let others do it for you. Go out and do the work, and learn as much as you can. Like, don't be afraid. Everybody says, like, don't be afraid to fail, but literally don't. Like, go out and work. Like, that was something that my family, again, like my grandpa, like, done once, done right. Like, work. Like, go do it. Like, you're not gonna learn if you don't go and do the work yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's super important. That's something that's very overshadowed a lot of the times. Because I feel, this, being from Fort Bragg, like we talked about earlier, no exposure, nothing. You kind of have a chip on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, you don't know who I am. You're about to find out,
Yeah.
And just imagine if you're put in that situation at a tryout or at an official visit or something, and you didn't work hard. You're not prepared. You're not confident in yourself. You're not going to show out. The one at the end of the day, if you work hard for it, somebody's going to notice.
Yeah.
And they say, what is it saying? I'm probably going to butcher this, but like luck is when hard work and opportunity meet, the road where they meet. And that's 100% true. So it's great advice. Work hard. It's something that a lot of people don't have, you know what I'm saying? That they don't have through the hardships. I think that's something that's built, it's an attribute that you get through adversity, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Through challenges and putting yourself in uncomfortable positions.
Totally.
And
Find
I
that
think-
drive.
Yeah. And I think, one other piece of advice would just be, treat people with kindness. Like, we all are human, and especially in, like, the times that we live in, like, just, treat people with kindness and make a positive and, like, be a positive impact on them rather than a negative one. And so if we treat each other as like humans and spread some kindness and some positivity,
Yeah.
it's gonna, each individual will make a reaction to somebody else, and hopefully that carries over, that little ripple effect.
I like what you say. Yeah, that ripple effect, man.
That's awesome. If there's anybody out there that's listening and wants to reach out, do you mind if they reach out to you in some
no.
form?
No,
Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Everybody at home watching or listening, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week.